Today we're going to continue looking at three-dimensional figures. The video that you watched yesterday gave you some information regarding the names and images of three-dimensional figures and some key vocabulary. So we're going to look at a little bit more of that today, along with two particular topics under three-dimensional figures that we're going to study. Some of the vocabulary terms that are important to know for this unit are on this page, so I'm going to review them with you. A solid is a three-dimensional figure that encloses a space. A polyhedron is a solid whose faces are all polygons. So some of the polygons we've studied this year are rectangles, parallelograms, triangles, trapezoids. So those are the ones that we're going to continue working with during this unit. A face is a flat surface of a polyhedron. An edge is a line segment where two faces intersect. So an edge is basically the outline of the three-dimensional figure. And then where three edges come together, that's called a vertex. And the vertex, or vertices for plural, are the points that are on a three-dimensional figure. The two categories that we're going to study under this unit are prisms and pyramids. So I'm going to review prisms with you first. A prism is a polyhedron that has two parallel identical bases. The lateral faces are parallelograms. So here we have a picture of what's called a triangular prism. These three-dimensional figures are named based on the shape of their base. So this triangular prism has two triangular bases. We see one here in the front, and then the other one is labeled in the back. It's important to remember that for a three-dimensional figure, the base is not always the bottom or what the three-dimensional figure is resting on. Imagine this three-dimensional figure right in front of you, and you could move it around and rest it on a different face. So when you're finding the bases, what you want to look for are the two that are identical to each other and opposite of each other. So that's shown as these two triangular faces in this prism. The other faces you see in blue, those are the parallelogram faces, so those are examples of the lateral faces. A pyramid is a polyhedron that has one base, and the lateral faces are triangles. So in this pyramid that's shown here, it's a rectangular pyramid because the shape of the base is a rectangle. The lateral faces, those ones that you see here in blue, those are the lateral faces of the pyramid, and those are triangles. Those triangles create that one vertex at the top, which makes a pyramid very easy to identify. On this slide, I've summed up the main differences between prisms and pyramids. So prisms, again, have two identical bases where a pyramid only has one base. And the lateral faces in a prism are all parallelograms. The lateral faces in a pyramid are triangles. And again, those triangular faces meet at one point at the top, that one vertex, and that's what makes a pyramid very easy to identify. That vertex is a main feature of the pyramid. This slide shows some examples of prisms, and as you can see, we have different prisms with different shaped bases, so that's where they're getting their names from. So here we have a triangular prism like we saw before. Here we have a square prism. There's one square in the front, there's going to be one in the back. The rectangular prism has all rectangular faces, so really any opposite pair of faces could be the base for that. Then we have a pentagonal prism where we have a pentagon face here in the front, another one in the back, and then the other faces are parallelograms. That's what makes it a prism, and the same is true for the hexagonal and octagonal prisms. This last page shows you some examples of pyramids, and again, these pyramids are named by the shape of their one singular base. So we have a triangular pyramid here. Here we have a square pyramid, a rectangular pyramid, pentagonal, hexagonal, and octagonal pyramids. And again, they're easy to identify because those triangular faces create that one characteristic point at the top that every pyramid has.